let's close out the show. So our friends are actually, I mean, we get a lot of books sent, and I think Jeff suggested a couple this week, and we ended up picking this book, Vicarious, from Boom Studios, Vicarious #1. Let me give you. Let's talk about the creatives. Let me give you a synopsis, and then we'll get into talking about it. This book is written by Ryan Parrott, who you may know from Power Rangers and stuff like that. Illustrated by Eleonora Carlini, colored by Matteo Iacono and Luca Mattioni. Letters by Becca Carey. This main cover by Dan Panosian, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, "Oh, that's Panosian's work." Like, obviously, the signature's right there, but like, he has a very distinct. He's a very good cover artist.
Yeah, I love his style.
Yeah, and then you'll see a few more covers when we end the video.
Is this the same Dan Panosian that kind of took over for X-Force when Liefeld left?
Yes, I think so.
That man is so talented, because that stuff, like when he was forced to try to follow Liefeld, like I was just like, oh, so ugly. But like Canary blew me away. This cover is awesome. And now I'm like, oh, you are that talented. Like you can make your work look like crappy Liefeld work and then pull this out now.
He has his own style, but he's also done stuff where he kind of mimics other people's work.
Yeah.
Also, like, it's very good. So
yeah, he's so good.
Yeah, I think he does a stream, I think, like a drink and draw type of
drink
thing.
And draw, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So highly encourage you to check that out if you like cool art. So, all right, in this book, enter Justin, a nameless 20-something desperate for human connection and excitement. Who isn't, Justin? After a dangerous encounter reveals itself as a fortuitous opportunity, Justin finds just what he's looking for in a secret world of proxies, young, pretty, ambitious hustlers like himself who allow the rich to access your feelings and experiences through technological implant. Does Justin have what it takes to make it in this seductive new world? This is a brand new original sci-fi psychological thriller in the vein of this felt to me like when I read the premise, like that movie Surrogates, the Bruce Willis, right? So let's start. So I'm interested, before we talked about this a little bit earlier. I think Clay may not have enjoyed this book as much. So Clay, why don't we start with you, and then we'll see if we can turn you, like, we can see what's going on here.
So they do like kind of an explainer at the beginning to kind of set it up, which I really hate when they do that, because I think the last book review we reviewed had the same thing where it explained how things were, and then the story actually did a better job of explaining. I kind of lost interest. Like, I'm watching and reading, as it starts to go on, and I'm like, I kind of just don't care. Like, nothing hooked me early on to the point I didn't finish it. So, I mean,
interesting.
Like, and I hate that I gave up so quick, but like, I'm just kind of like, I don't care. I don't know. They've explained some stuff at the beginning, but are we getting there? And it's like, I know it's 22 pages, but if it's not getting me, I'll just put the book down. So
that's fair.
He's like, I got Black Science to read.
Yeah, right. Now, Jeff, what did you think of the book?
I enjoyed it. To Clay's point, the pacing is a little weird in the book, because it does have like an explainer, then it kind of builds some characters, and then there's a little twist at the very, very end. And so you're kind of like, okay, and for me, the interest didn't pick up until after our main character like makes the
after
first
their meeting, the big meeting.
After the meeting, after the meeting. So at first I was kind of like with Clay, I was like, what is this world we're getting into? Okay, I'm kind of like, just whatever. And then after that first plot turn, or story point turn, then I was like, okay, now this is kind of interesting. It definitely talks about how relation, like, I guess you don't really know who you're talking to, kind of stuff. There's like a lot of stuff that we can weave into this story that could make it super interesting, and super prescient as to what our times, like how we live today socially and whatnot. We can talk about drug addiction, all kinds of things can go into this story.
There's definitely a lot, I think. So I will say, to your point, Jeff, and Clay, I would encourage you to try to read it again, because this explainer that we have in the first couple of pages actually comes back towards the end of the book. So it's not really explainer. It's like something that one of the characters is saying to somebody else is just kind of presented in a way. So when I was reading it, I was like, I've read this before. Like when I was reading the dialogue towards the end of the book, I was like, I've read this before, and I went back, and it's pretty much so this narrator that we have explaining everything in the beginning, in these pages right here. Oh, whoops! In these pages right here is actually dialogue that's woven within the story once things kick off. So I would definitely encourage you to maybe try it again.
I definitely, after I finished the last page, I went back to the beginning of the comic to review.
Yeah, I will say the main character is probably not the most likable. Like especially here,
that's tough too. That's a tough read with someone you just go, oh fuck this guy.
Yeah, like you see this guy with all these like, I don't know, job interviews or whatever, and you're like, well, it doesn't feel like you're really trying, homie. Like, listen, I know it's hard to get a job, but it doesn't feel like you're really trying. And then of course he has a just like kind of bumming around and running from his landlord. They try to do a little bit of like give him some like a save the cat type of moment by him coming to the aid of somebody that's kind of being attacked just for a prejudice, right? They're only attacking him because he has an implant and he's one of these surrogate people.
Surrogates.
Yeah. I know they're not called surrogates in this book, but I mean that's all I keep thinking about. But yeah, once like Jeff said, once this meeting happened and the main character goes into the actual world of like people living vicariously through other people, things then get very interesting. And then, like I said, then in the last few pages, there's like a big twist that I was like, oh shit. So like I don't want to spoil anything, but that really kind of put it over the top. So it's very interesting. I recommend you give it another chance. I know sometimes I send you guys the books late in the day, so like if it's the end of the day, you're probably like, I'm tired. I don't want to go. Like if I'm not hooked now.
So because that kind of was the deal. I was like, it was the last thing I was going to read, and then I was like, there's nothing hooking me. But then you're kind of telling me the hook is the cliffhanger at the end, I guess.
Yeah, there's definitely more. Like there's a turn in the story, like around the middle, where like, okay, this is what the book is really about. Everything else was just kind of the way to get there. So I agree, the pacing's a little weird. Or at least the way that things are presented, it's kind of weird. It's an interesting order, but I do want to know more. Like I want to know more about the technology or even the tattoos that they have, because those actually have some deeper meaning and stuff. And then, like I said, there's the big twist towards the end where you're like, when I read that page, I had to go back and check another thing in the book. Like I thought I missed something. And then I was like, "Oh no, this is something else." So
that's why I went and flip back through too as well.
Yeah,
the art is pretty good. There's sometimes the characters look a little the same, but there's but I think that's kind of that anime influence that you can see.
Very stylized, for sure. I went back. I went to the artist's Instagram, and they have some really cool work. But it's not sequential stuff really that they have on there. So I don't know if this is maybe this is their first sequential work, or maybe just some of the earlier stuff. So, but I mean, it looks cool. Like I like manga, so like I don't mind when things look a little bit samey, just to kind of focus on the movement and the action that's going on, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I like it. I really like how expressive his face is, even if I don't specifically like him in general. So, all right. Any last thoughts on Vicarious?
Give it a try, is what I say.
I will. I'll revisit it.
Yes.